Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
What's up, everybody? It's Nicole Brajer here with AFTERBUZZ TV. We are at the final season of Mob Wives. It is episode 4, season 6. It's the end of an era. And with me are some amazing panelists, and I'm surrounded by dudes tonight. This is awesome. This is rare, guys.
I know.
Introduce yourselves.
Yes. Hey, everybody. It's me, Howard III. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Howard III. That's Howard the 3RD.
And hey, everyone. It's Grant Rutter. Grants__rants on Twitter. And my first show here at AFTERBUZZ was Mob Wives. So thank you for welcoming me to the panel to fill in. I appreciate it.
Yes, because you know a little bit of the history.
Yeah, and I'm paying homage to it, as we're on our final season. So I'm so glad I get to come back and discuss these ladies. I've talked to a lot of wives at AFTERBUZZ. So.
Yeah, you like those wives.
There we go.
It's so funny. And you guys can find me on Twitter, social media, the whole 9 yards, at Nicole Brajer. So this episode was called Flip Floppers and Party Hoppers. And speaking of a flip flopper and party hopper, we have Brittany Fogarty on the line. What's up, Brittany? How are you?
Yes, hi. How are you guys?
Good.
Hello.
Good.
Hi.
We are so happy to have you. I know it's a little bit late. You're on the East Coast, right now? Are you in Pennsylvania or are you in New York?
Yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania right now. I'm on the East Coast. So it's just after midnight.
Buried in snow.
Yeah, oh my God, we got so much snow. We got like 40 inches here.
Wow.
40 inches in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it took me 5 hours to shovel out my car.
You did it all by yourself?
Wow.
Me and my brother did it. We shoveled the whole driveway, all the cars out. It took forever. It was like a disaster here. It was a blizzard.
Yeah.
Are you missing the hell out of the West Coast?
I know.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Are you missing the West Coast?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I'm missing LA so bad. I'm actually going out next week for my brother's birthday, so I'm looking forward to it. Some sunshine in my life.
Yeah, you should stop by the studios. So we
that'd be great.
You definitely
You
should,
should, yeah.
especially if you're going to be in town. So you mentioned brothers, so you have 3 older brothers, right?
Yeah, correct. I have 3 older brothers.
So
I'm the youngest. I'm the only girl.
You're the only girl. Yeah, I have 2 older brothers, so I'm right there with you. It's a blessing in disguise sometimes. But you kind of grew
Yeah, it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of grew up in like a male-dominated lifestyle, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I grew up with my mother, but she's not like your typical female. She's like a powerhouse of a crazy Italian woman.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had my 3 brothers. So naturally, I turned out to be like kind of a little bit of a tomboy.
So you would call yourself a tomboy, even though you're a supermodel, I guess we could say, right? I mean, you've walked for Michael Costello, and let's see what else. I love Michael Costello, by the way. He's so big on the red carpet.
I know. He's my favorite. I love his stuff.
And Andre Soriano, which is cool. Did you ever want to walk for Christian Soriano from Project Runway?
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing. I'm grateful that I walked for Michael Costello. That was like always one of my dreams. I just love his gowns, his dresses, and everything. But, Christian Soriano is definitely on the list.
Is there anybody besides those designers that you have worked with as well?
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of different designers. I do Fashion Week in New York and LA, so I've done Michael Costello, Andre Soriano, I've done Donna Mazzani, I've done Mr. Triple X, I did Gregorio Sanchez,
Wow.
Adolfo. I've done a lot. Yeah, I've walked for a lot of different designers. I love runway, so it's something I always look forward to.
Are you doing runway in New York currently?
Yeah, I'll be walking in New York this Fashion Week in February.
That's awesome. That's
Cool.
exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's what I read. I read that you're dating someone. We'll get to your dad in a second, but I'm gonna like throw you for a loop for a second and not talk about your dad in the beginning. But I want to talk about your dating life really quick because you're the youngest mob wife I feel like that we've ever encountered, right, guys? So
Oh,
are you
absolutely.
are
Yeah,
you
I'm
20?
so much younger than all the other women.
Are you 24 or 25 now?
I just turned 25 in December.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
so what is it like being the youngest wife of all these crazy women?
Wife. You're
Even though you're not a wife,
It's
yeah.
interesting. I think being the youngest is kind of like when certain women don't like my opinion or like what I'm saying or to hear what I'm saying, then it's just like it automatically goes back to my youth. Like, oh, well, you're young, you don't understand. And to me, it's like, no, I'm 25, I'm a grown up, I'm an adult, I understand. And maybe my youth just intimidates you, and you can't, wrap your head around the fact that somebody younger than you can see through you.
Right. I tell that to my mother all the time. So I guess let's talk about your mom and how she raised you. I mean, I understand your point of view with Renee and having feelings about your mother, but I mean, overall, are you happy with the outcome, I guess you could say, or is there any grudges?
No. I mean, there's definitely, I have no grudges towards my mom whatsoever. I feel like, when her whole world came crashing down, she just buckled up and worried about putting her kids first, and that's what she always did. And, I'm grateful that I just had a strong mom who didn't succumb to the struggles of her lifestyle. My mom was the type of woman who, no matter how much pain she was in, she never let us see her hurting, and she never let us see her upset. So, she was more of an idol to me, an inspiration than anything.
But now your dad. So is your dad? Well, I mean, being in this episode, even we saw you mention your father contacting you about Karen and wanting, wanting to know, let her know to say hi to her dad and everything. But do you find that now that you've been on the show, you're in better communication with him? Has this helped your relationship, or?
I wouldn't say it's helped it nor hurt it. I think our relationship is kind of just, it is what it is. It's something that, my father was in prison until I was 11 years old. So he was out of my life, and that time to bond was just kind of taken from us. And, I'm opinionated. I have my resentments towards him, and I'm sure he has resentments towards the way I've acted towards him growing up and through the years. But it's something that we work on. I wouldn't say the show has hurt our relationship at all. I think if anything, it's helped him open up to me behind the scenes personally on like a one-on-one level of things that he's gone through, because he was never really vocal about a lot of the stuff that he went through. So I think if anything, maybe it helps it a little bit, but our relationship it's always been pretty rocky between the two of us. We butt heads, and I think it'll kind of always be that way.
Was he encouraging of you joining the show, and what was his reaction?
No, he wasn't fond of me joining the show. I think the whole like Mob Wives thing, just the whole name of it, he was just like, I never wanted you to be associated with that type of lifestyle, and I didn't want you to like be under this dark cloud of the mob and people to look at you that way. So I think for him it was like, our family's kind of been through the ringer because of this. Why would you want to like go back and associate yourself with that?
Yeah. You told the New York Post that your dad just kind of showed up on your doorstep when you were 11 and said, "Hey, Dad's home." I mean, that's got to be tough. And speaking of the youth thing, I mean, you went through a lot in your youth that most, kids don't go through. So if anything, you probably are more mature at 25 than most 25-year-olds.
Absolutely. I mean, just like, it's not, he kind of did on our doorstep. One day he just kind of showed up and was like, "Hey, I'm back. I want to have a relationship with everybody." And it's like shocking. It's like, I don't know you, and now you're coming into our house and you're like trying to play dad and be a dictator, and it caused problems. And I think that, just like having to deal with such real issues that were going on, not just with me, with my family growing up, it definitely like, put some things in perspective, and minor things that might have been a big deal to another teenage girl weren't a big deal to me because I had shit going on at home with my family. So I think it definitely made me stronger in a sense.
How do your brothers feel about the show and all this?
I think they find it comical and entertaining more than anything. They laugh. They call me up and they just laugh about what goes on the episodes and stuff. They get a kick out of it.
That's good that they have a sense of humor, being that they've probably been through the ringer with you. But it must be different being that you're a girl.
Yeah, we laugh.
We
laugh about it. It's like, my brothers will call me up and be like, "Do you see these crazy things that people are writing on your Instagram?" And we'll just like laugh about it. And I'm like, I know. Like, they think they know us.
Right. Yeah, well, they most certainly do. We know a little bit about the fans, especially for this show, because they're pretty loyal to it, and they're just as opinionated as all of you ladies are. That's funny.
Yes.
I had another quick question about your dad. Do you foresee a future with him, like a better relationship going forward, maybe after the show ends, or how does that cross your mind at all?
I mean, I hope so. Of course, it's something that we work on. I think we don't really see eye to eye on a lot of things, and I think just everything that our family's been through, it's hard to move past some of the struggles. But for me, it's like, you only get one mom, you only get one dad,
right.
and I recognize that, and I try to separate myself from what's gone on in the past and just focus on our relationship right now and like what we can do to make it better and just continue to work on our relationship.
What's something that both of you don't see eye to eye on? Because you have that like new school millennial opinion, and I feel like your dad is that like old school,
He is like that kind of
mentality.
like has that old school mindset, and you got like, you shouldn't talk about this, you shouldn't talk about that, and respect your elders and this and that. And to me, it's like, again, with my age, but I'm young, I'm an adult, but I'll say what I want, and this is who I am. And I don't think that we live in a world anymore where it's like, you got to watch what you say. And I think a lot of times me and my dad butt heads is he'll be like, him and my mother always butted heads, and I was raised by my mother, and it's like, oh, you're just like your mother. And yeah, I am just like my mother. So, I am just like her. I'm like a little mini version of her. But, I think that's probably something we butt heads on, is he just kind of looks at it like, who are you to talk to me like that? Like, you're young, you're my daughter. And I'm like, I can say whatever I want. These are my opinions, and I'll voice them however I feel.
Exactly. Did your mom write? She wrote a tell-all in 2004.
Yeah, she wrote a
Divorce
book.
from the Mob.
It's called Divorce from the Mob, and it's basically just her life story and her upbringing and how she got involved in everything and her life.
Right. That I should read it. Because I'm
It's
interested.
good.
What do you
It's a
think?
good book.
So, what do you think about Drita writing a tell-all?
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's like, I know when my mom wrote her book, it's pretty therapeutic for her just to like sit and write and go through all the stuff that she's been through. And I think it was kind of the same for Drita. I think it's just a type of therapy almost. I think it's great. Why not put your story out there? And, if you could help other women or help anyone else who's struggling or do anything like that just from reading your story, then it's worth it.
Was it your mother or your grandmother that managed this underground card games that happen in New York, or particularly Brooklyn?
So that was my grandmother. So she used to hold all like illegal card games for like Crazy Joe Gallo and other wise guys on the street in her house.
Sort of
And
badass.
my mom is one of 10 kids. So like she used to have all the wise guys come to the house and host these card games.
Wow.
And she'd tell the kids and like my mom and my aunts like, oh, serve them their drinks, hang up their coats, do this, do that. And she had like a whole card ring in her house.
Wow.
Isn't that insane? It's crazy.
Yeah, my grandmother was like one tough, crazy lady.
She taught you how to use a knife at the age of 4?
Not me. So my brother.
Your brother?
It was Christmas, and she bought my brother. He's 2 years older than me. He was like 4 at the time.
Yeah.
And she bought him a knife, and she told him, "Listen, this is what you do, and how to use it." And she showed him. I mean, it wasn't. It's not normal. Like,
It's not.
No.
For a 4-year-old.
it's
Hardcore.
not. God. And like I said that in one of my interviews, and some of my aunts and uncles got mad. Like, how are you talking about grandma like that? I'm like, well, what? Everybody was there. It's true. She did give my brother a knife when he was 4, and she told him how to use it. That's sick.
Yeah. Is
You
your
can't even give a 4-year-old a steak knife, let alone like a pocket knife.
yeah? Probably. What is the age? Probably like 13 to handle one of those bad boys. Oh man,
I don't
that's
know.
crazy.
It's so dysfunctional.
Well, so you had to go away from Staten Island at 18 months around there and go to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So right before I was 2, my family was relocated to Pennsylvania.
Do you remember being in Staten Island? Like, I know too. Like, what do we remember? is it only by pictures and stuff, or like, just what do you remember of being like that young, kind of in this lifestyle?
I don't remember actually being there like before we were relocated, but after we were relocated, my whole family, like most of them all still lived in Staten Island. So we used to go to Staten Island for everything. I used to spend a lot of my summers in Staten Island growing up as a kid. So we were always back and forth in Staten Island. They might have relocated us out here, but we were still there.
Where did you end up moving? Like, where are you currently living? You're still going to be in PA with your mom?
Right now I'm in PA with my mom. I was living in LA for a while, and now I'm in the process of moving back closer to New York. But yeah, right now we're in PA, and where they relocated us. I mean, they relocated us out here to Bucks County. This is where I grew up. This is where my mom set up her life. So this is where she stayed.
So are you anxious to move out, or?
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth. I'm missing LA so bad, but I go back and forth to New York all the time, and now I'm just anxious to find a place and get out there for good. It's the traveling that kills me more than anything.
Right. Right, and that New York rent too. It's not the easiest.
Yeah.
No. But you shouldn't have any problems with that.
No, LA's not much better.
It's true.
We know the struggle is very real out here. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna have to talk about the episode title here, Flip Flopper. That's pertaining to you.
Yeah.
That's all you. So congrats on making the episode title.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? Because I'm understanding her frustration, Brittany's with Marissa, right? Because Marissa is just finding reasons to not like Brittany, and it's like it doesn't make any sense
from
to
day
me.
one.
Yep.
From day one.
Every episode, there's another zing at you from her. Yep. And tonight in this episode, she calls you fishy. What do you have to say about that?
I'm just still trying to figure out why this girl was so concerned with like what I'm doing, who I'm talking to, how much I'm drinking, and just what I'm doing. Like for me, now watching the show, it's like, okay, day one, your first episode, Renee is basically manipulating your mind and head with things of reasons not to like me before you even meet me, and then it's like every time the girl is just constantly talking about me. Like every time I turn around, it's a new thing. And even with the whole lush thing, like it's not, you want to call me a lush, that's fine, whatever, I don't care. But it's the antagonistic intentions behind it. It was that she kept saying it, she kept looking to poke. And for me, it's like, why are you trying to start a problem? You don't know me from a hole in the wall.
Right. What? I mean, she's just got Prissy Missy. That's the perfect nickname for her.
You're her storyline, I guess.
Pretty much.
I mean, I guess so. It seems like it to me. To me, it's like crazy. I'm like, every scene you're talking about me. I don't understand. Don't you have anything else to talk about? And as far as the whole flip-flopper thing, it's like, I think these women just could not handle the fact that I like Drita. Plain and simple. Just could not handle it.
What do you have to say for yourself about the flashback to the Hamptons of you not necessarily completely having Drita's back when they were all talking about her, and then essentially becoming friends with her, like, down the line?
I don't know. I mean, absolutely. And I'm not going to deny anything that I said about her in the Hamptons or how I acted. I definitely chimed in on the conversation. Mm-hmm. And looking back, I shouldn't have opened my mouth. That was before I ever met Drita. But I'm hanging around a group of women who do nothing but talk about her and badmouth her. And it had been weeks of hearing stuff. And,
you just wanted to give your opinion.
So I chimed in. And, I shouldn't have said anything about her before I met her. And for me, it was like I kept hearing all these one-sided stories from all the other women about Drita. And then when I met her, mm-hmm. she was like a totally different person than they all had explained to me. I was like, what are they talking about? Like, it was just sick to me. And when I met her, I just liked her off the bat. I was like, I don't know what these women are talking about. Their past history and problems with her have nothing to do with me. And I don't feel like I should have had a grudge against Drita because of somebody else's problems that don't involve me.
Right. Do you feel like Drita is actually preying on you? I know some of the girls on the show were saying, oh, this is what Drita does. She takes the weak and puts them under their wing.
Yeah.
Do you really think Drita's doing that to you?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I really find it comical that they're trying to say that, because in reality, what really happened was before I met Drita, all of these women were like, talking about her and and telling me things about her to look at her in a negative way. And when I met Drita,
I can see
she
that.
never did that about anyone else. She never tried to like put things in my head about nasty stuff that the other women had done or reasons why she didn't like them. She never did that. So if anybody in my eyes was trying to manipulate who I should or shouldn't like, it was all of the other women trying to manipulate me into not liking Drita. And,
I like
you
that.
know, from what my experiences were with them, they were talking badly about her. And when I met her, I didn't see any of that stuff. And when I met Drita, she never said any, she never like badmouthed any of them to me.
Right.
So it was like, what?
What did you think of Carla saying that Drita did the same thing to her?
I mean, I don't know. If Drita's claiming that Carla did the same thing to her, then Carla must have been a weak person to fall under someone's manipulation for 3 years. So you're claiming that you were manipulated for 3 years?
I like that.
Okay.
As we look back at other 3 years prior and other seasons that we were kind of referenced, had you watched the show before, and what were your previous impressions before you joined the cast?
So I'd only watched the first season back when it had first came on TV, and then when I had been asked to come on the show, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go back and rewatch all the seasons because I didn't want to come into the show with like preconceived opinions about any of the women based off of stuff that happened in previous seasons because it has nothing to do with me. So I was like, all right, I saw the first season years ago. I'm just going to go into it and meet all the women off the bat based how, you know, one-on-one they are with me and not what's happened on the show.
Well, so how are you liking it so far? Like the show and the women. Are you still friends with any of the women like outside of the show or?
Yeah, I'm still friends with Drita and Ange. And I like the show. You know, I enjoy watching it. I think it's, you know, it's a good show. It's, you know, we all know what we signed up for, and what we're watching is, you know, we know what's going to be on to some extent. We were a part of it, and I just like seeing how it all comes together.
You're not close with Karen still?
No. Oh no. Oh no. We got into like a Twitter war last week after the episode.
Oh,
do
stop.
tell.
We missed that.
Do tell that one.
Why? After the last episode?
Last week, yeah. I don't know. I just think, again, with the whole Drita situation, I just think that a lot of these other women on the show just like can't handle that we formed a friendship as much as all of them tried to force us not to. And I think, you know, I think it just really bothers some of them.
Wow.
That'll do it though, for sure.
Now I'm curious. I'm gonna go stalk you guys on Twitter. Because
You'll have to check it out.
Because you guys had a nice conversation in this episode.
Bond.
No, you know, you'll have to see how me and Karen's relationship plays out.
Yeah.
We were friendly in the beginning, absolutely we were, and you know, but these women are so black and white, like it's either Team Drita or Team Karen, and I didn't really see it like that in the beginning. I was like, you know, none of these women's other relationships have anything to do with me, and I think my relationship with Drita had a lot to do with the downfall of my relationship with Karen.
Wow.
Now, have you shot anything like a reunion yet, or is there potential for this to really kind of come to a head in the future on television?
So we have not shot our reunion yet, but we're supposed to be shooting it next week.
Okay, wow. So there's some potential.
Yeah,
there
so
to-
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and call her out.
Yeah.
I think everybody's gonna get called out on stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. How were you contacted for this show? What was that process like? What can you say about that?
I was contacted, you know, I think just through the regular casting process. Jen actually was the one who pulled me into the show and got me on the show. So, you know, can thank her for that. It's funny to me because a lot of fans will tweet me and be like, oh, Karen brought you around. Karen got you a job. And it's like, do you guys really think Karen hired me? Like, I was hired by production of the show.
Right. Yeah. People, the average viewer doesn't really understand that whole production side and that whole space. They think it's so organic. So, yeah, to try to get that conversation going and people to understand, it just creates so many Twitter wars. Like we mentioned.
I know. It's crazy.
Gosh.
Twitter is another world.
Yeah, I'm coming across your tweets now, and you've got so many people involved too. Like, you know, whether it's
Oh, there's so many people.
I do believe you got under Karen's skin. She starts calling people fake when you stand up for her.
I gotta say, I get a kick out of when
Karen's
Karen gets,
someone called Karen a douche. Karen got some loose screws.
I like when Karen gets really rambunctious and gets upset. She gets so into it. Like I always gonna goof on her. It's getting so irritated.
I know.
That's what I mean. It's funny to watch.
Yeah,
like,
she like
everybody gets so bent out of shape, and
she's like instant tough.
Yeah.
She's like instant tough.
Karen's called Brittany a liar and said that your whole effing story about your father is fake as well. So she's calling you fake and your dad's story fake?
yeah. But this is what I mean about like people are delusional because now that you don't like what I'm saying and that I'm friends with Drita on Twitter, you want to turn around and say my whole story's fake. But when we were friendly and you were filming, you were sitting there saying how close our fathers were and how they had such a great relationship. So,
Did I miss
I think sometimes people forget what they say.
Well, yeah, especially women. But what flipped the switch?
Between what?
You and Karen. Like what? Because I'm not following this at all.
On Twitter?
Yeah.
Why did she?
I think she got mad when I believe what started it was she tweeted me something like, "Wow, Britt, you have no loyalty," because she didn't like, I guess, how I was handling the scene with me and Drita in the gym. And I guess she thought I went against her. But Drita wasn't even saying anything bad about her. All she said about her was, oh, Karen had a tanning bed in her house when she grew up.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Oh,
so
okay.
what's
Now
the big
it
deal?
all makes sense. Yes, this is what I actually wanted to touch with you about. Because you... right? Did Brittany stir a pot there? You stirred a pot.
Yeah,
and I didn't even foresee or predict anything with Karen, right? Because we were talking to Renee last week about it, and we were just focused on Renee that it didn't even click with me that Karen would get pissed too.
Yeah, it was kind of like spoken over a little bit. It wasn't as clear as the Karen moment as the Renee moment.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that, Britt? Did you feel like you just didn't think that went through, or?
Oh, about Karen?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I felt like what Drita was saying about Karen having a tanning bed. I mean, that's true. She did have a tanning bed in her house, so it's not like a bad thing to say. It's like, to me, it wasn't a bad thing. And for her to sit there and be like, oh, where's your loyalty, Britt, when she's watching the episode? Well, Karen, where was your loyalty when Marissa was sitting there on a couch telling you that I'm having mood swings because you didn't say anything?
Yeah. I feel like Drita was more responsible in that conversation between the gym with the Karen comment, but yet because you started the conversation, that's why Karen's pissed. So I get.
Absolutely,
now
but I
get
mean,
it.
how am I not going to address an elephant in the room when I meet Drita and tell her? Like, she knows all these women talk about her. Anne's already told her they were talking about her in the Hamptons. I'm going to go in here and pretend like I don't know anything that happened. Listen, Drita, I hear all these bad things about you, but what does that have to do with me? And that's really how I am. I mean, none of those other women's problems have anything to do with me. So why should I hold any of that against Drita or have like a chip on my shoulder towards her because of it? I don't think I should have.
All right. Well, I agree. I don't think you should either. I just think because you are the youngest and like you are now being exposed to how these women operate, you have to remember like when to not talk and when to talk, right?
Oh yeah.
But they all you're not the only one though. I mean, they all do this.
Yeah.
It's the nature of the beast. It's a cycle with the show
Exactly.
kind of. It's
It
like
really
you're bound
is.
to have the moment,
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It is. It's absolutely a cycle.
Yeah, I mean, it must be exhausting to try to keep up with who am I on good terms with. What happened was the last time I saw this person, what did we talk about? Like, I'd be exhausted trying to keep up.
Oh my God, it is exhausting. Trust me. Sometimes my head spins, and I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" I mean, there's just so many. There's so many of us women on the show this season. There's so much drama. This one's got a problem with that one. That one's got a problem with this one. It's just crazy. It's so much to even keep track of. I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, hang in there because we've got a couple more episodes left. We're excited to see, what happens between you and Marissa, and and obviously all the other wives. But we're gonna let you go. Before I say goodbye, though, I quoted you tonight. You said, be strong, put your lipstick on, and get the F out there. And I love that.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
just, put your big girl panties on and say, F this, and move past it.
Yeah.
Words to
Sometimes
live
you just
by.
got to suck it up and get out there.
Yes, with a little lipstick on, of course. I love
Of course.
it. Thank you so much, Brittany,
Thank
for
you.
Great
letting
chatting
us
with
talk
you.
to you tonight. We really appreciate it. Great interview, man. I loved
Yeah.
it.
Thank you.
And,
Thanks for having me.
Yes, we must keep in touch with you when you're in Los Angeles next week.
Yes, you have to come to the
Absolutely,
studio.
definitely.
Well, yeah, if you could come in studio, we would love that. So
Totally. We'll be in touch.
We'll talk to your people. Yeah. Okay, stay warm. Happy shoveling.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Brittany.
Bye.
Bye.
She's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like she gave it to us straight.
Yep.
She stands in her own truth. I like it.
Yeah, how could she not? Because she is like this. She's having to grow up like that.
Yeah.
You've got to have thick, tough skin and just like not care.
Yeah.
And for somebody so young, I dig her.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. I love that. She was just like, listen, this is me. I'm Brittany. Take it or leave it. I'm about that life, pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
She's outspoken, she's young, she's feisty, and she's strong, and that's what makes her perfect for this show. All right, let's quickly review the show real quick.
Yeah.
We can touch on a couple of different topics. Let's first talk about Karen and Storm.
Karen, you can do better than him.
much better, Karen.
She can do so much better than him. Now, she's staying with him because he's loyal. But, I mean, I know it's not easy to find a good guy. But, in other ways, he's not as good. I mean, he's just not good for her. I think anyone would agree. Like, I want to know what her dad thinks. That's what I really want to know, because I don't think he's good for her. I don't think he ever was.
No, I definitely don't like them together at all. I said it from the beginning when she first got with him. He's just Storm. Like, he needs to be by
He
himself.
is a storm, literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he just needs to be alone. Like, or he needs to be somebody who's not as strong as Karen, or something.
Because they're both two strong personalities that
strong-minded
just collide.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Here's the thing. Like, I find myself going for men who are harder to get, and aren't the best for me. I don't know. I feel like women, especially like tough women who've been through, crap, like they like a challenge. And I understand why she always goes back to him. But I do. I saw it. I even wrote that their conversation was cute.
Really? I was like thrown off. I was like, oh, please, Karen. I was like, you really falling for all this?
I know. I feel like it is an abusive relationship, and like the smart thing would be for me to be like, she shouldn't be with him. But I get it a little bit. They're both badass people. They've grown up in this lifestyle. They're attracted to the lifestyle.
But what kind of future could those two have?
I don't know.
It's just not going to end well.
No, it's not.
I mean, I wish her well. I love when Karen gets tough. I love it.
Yeah.
I like Karen and Storm, but I don't like Karen and Storm together. Them arguing in the park, and here's your watch. I got some other stuff. Like, girl, you should have been giving his watch back and his clothes back. Be Karen alone. Storm, stay in the club.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not healthy for her to be seeing somebody who's not of her home and then has a drinking problem and he's involved with bad people. Yeah, but she's used to this, guys. She's used to it.
She can still do better, in my opinion.
She can. I'm with you.
Okay, well then let's move on to Carla and Drita. I mean, first of all, Carla looked amazing in this entire episode.
The dress she
whole
wore to the
episode.
party, the birthday party, she looked good.
Yes. I was like, you had twins? Like,
Yeah.
you look good.
Yeah, she's awesome. But when you guys think, who do you have a side on this, or like is it Carla or Drita or what? I'm almost like I feel bad for Carla because I understood her frustration, being that Marissa just approaches Drita and Drita's like cool with her, but like why can't Carla and her be cool?
Yeah.
Well, I'm missing pieces to the puzzle to really make an accurate, true statement on what side I'm on. I feel like there's still like stuff missing that we have to, and hopefully this warehouse breakdown
Yeah,
will fill in those blanks.
It will definitely reveal something. But what do you think?
I like Drita.
See, I like Drita too. I think I'm leaning towards more Team Drita. She's such a strong person. She can handle all these girls by herself. She really doesn't need anybody else in the corner. I think Carla is probably just guilting Drita into something. I do believe there's something bigger than what we're seeing that we need to really dive into, but Carla's just guilting her into something. I don't know what it is.
Carla said that Drita betrayed her when she was vulnerable. So this is pertaining to the ex-boyfriend, right?
Right.
And and this ties kind of back with even like Karen and Storm. When women are dealing with their men, they are, you know, when they're having bad relationship issues, they are vulnerable and they reach to their friends to confide in and have their back, especially when they're at that low point. And it looks like Drita wasn't completely on board with her, maybe talked about the relationship behind Carla's back and then put her in that situation. And
disloyalty equals no good.
No.
So, Drita, you should own up to that.
Yeah.
If that's what happened.
I hope she owns up to something in this warehouse.
Yeah. I mean, I think she needs to. When your back is against the wall, you have to take a little bit of ownership. You have to take one sometimes, swallow your pride, and move on.
But she gets angry. She gets real angry, and like it's like the curse words come flying out. I feel like it's hard for Drita to admit when she's wrong, and that's okay. That's what happens, you know, to tough people who have that kind of persona. But I feel like it's very rare that we as an audience have seen her own up to things.
I think Drita should just own up to it. I mean, we would still love you. We're still true fans for Drita. If you would just to say, listen, Carla, my bad. I should have never told all of Staten Island your business. I'm sorry. I'd be like, okay, Drita, hooray. You know?
Exactly. And just bury the hatchet. All right, real quick, we're running out of time. Let's quickly talk about Angela and Neil. Like, what the heck, and you're so harsh. I feel so bad for Neil, being that he was by her side through all this cancer.
I know, he's getting a bad rap. She just wants him to pay some bills. I mean, I think if he just what he should do, he should really surprise her for her birthday and get like the National Grid bill and be like, paid. She'd be so happy. She'd be so thrilled to see him pay for something. I think that's what he needs to do. That's my advice to you, Neil.
I agree. I think if he just showed up at her birthday with surprise, I paid the mortgage, like Angela would go crazy.
Yeah. It was kind of funny how she made that reference to back in the day, how people paid the bill, there was no worry, and then he was like, well, now and all those guys are dead, so
that made me laugh too.
Yeah,
it is definitely a different generation, and you know, it's not like it's like fair for men and women to split the bills, but she's got that old school mentality, so I understand.
I want you to pay for everything.
Yeah, I mean, I would be upset too, especially because she probably has a ton of hospital bills, and you need your other half to.
Oh, I know. You can tell she's clearly feeling pressure with the medical bills coming in. And that'll make money's a hot button issue for anyone. So when the bills are coming in and the money isn't, I can understand that. You know, so
maybe she could take up a secretary job or something. You know,
her.
Yeah, Angela.
Oh God, I could never see her sitting behind a desk. She'd lose her mind.
Hello, it's Angela.
Yeah.
I always loved Big Engine Drita.
All right. Well, we had a really long interview with Brittany, so we're gonna have to jump right to our predictions for next week.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Whoa! All right, guys, what are you thinking?
Well, at the warehouse, I predict there's going to be a lot of table slapping from Drita.
Yeah.
And it looks like to me like Brittany and Marissa are going to be getting earning their stripes, it seems.
Yes.
We're one-on-one moment with each other, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I predict that Carla's finally going to get everything off her chest, how she really feels about Drita. At the sit down, it's going to go down.
Okay, these are great predictions. I don't know if this is going to jump into next episode, but I really hope that Brittany takes a swing at Marissa. No offense. I mean, I like Marissa. She's feisty, she's hot, she's sexy, but she's being a bitch.
Yeah.
You can only poke at someone for so long.
Yeah, you can only push your finger into a wound until it starts to bleed. So hopefully there will be some bloodshed next episode. All right, guys, that's it. That's all the time we have for you right now on AfterBuzz TV. Catch us next week. And where can everyone find y'all?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Howard III, and my website, howardthird.com.
And you guys can find me over on Twitter at Grants__rants, and check me out on my podcast, Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk, where I talk a lot of reality TV. So check that out. It's on iTunes and Stitcher.
And you can find me at Nicole Brajer on all social media. Tune into Suits, because that's coming up next, and I'm going to be talking about Suits as well. It's back, yay! Nice. All right, guys, hashtag ABTV Mob Wives to join the conversation, and we'll see you all next week with another surprise guest. Yay! Stay tuned.
Ooh.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.